Bhutam Atasupam Rupam Tasakatari Puri Maturim Usvara Radhakundakiram Ahurarikambhavamasam Raturis Pratitapipaya Shri Guru Tam Ratusmi Guravehi Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tadaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Ananda Niramaya Vikraya Hemabhadivyaschari Sundaraya Tasvai Mahaprema Sampradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Bhaktya Vina Aparada Dashe Jivasya Kamayitam Namate Kripa Mahitam Sharanam Prapayam Vinde Namaste Sharanam Vindam Vinde Namaste Sharanam Vindam Govinda Rama Dharamadaveti Govinda Rama Dharamadaveti Govinda Rama Dharamadaveti Govinda Rama Dharamadaveti Hare Krishna Hare Radha Hare Saketi Govinda Rama Dharamadaveti Jal Sundar Chandasya Swaha Surli Mahara Radhikuruskama Kripanidhe Supriya Chavakim Kurim Kurim Tavayasvi Najivani Prayavana Iti Vikyaya Devi Tam Namam Sharanam. First of all, I offer my Satsang Puspanjali, my heart like flowers thousands of times, at the lotus feet of my holy master, my supremely worshipful spiritual Gurudev, Asmatiya Parmaradatam Guru Pada Karma, Nitya Leela Pravish Om Vishnu Pada Ashtottara Satasri Rupanugacharya Varya Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami. Secondly, I offer my pranam thousands of times at the lotus feet of my Param Gurudev, to Srila Prabhupada, and to all of our Sri Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Parampara. And finally, I offer my pranam to all my very dear brothers and sisters, to all Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. By the causes of Sri Gaurangaranga, we have gathered together to become absorbed in the Gaurakatha, the glorification of Sri Satyananda and Gauri in these days leading up to the occasion of Gaura Purnima, his divine appearance in this world. In all of the canonical biographies of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, those are accepted as authentic within our line, such as Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Sri Chaitanya Charita, Chaitanya Chandradvara and other scriptures describing the appearance and the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all of them mention that his bhagavata, his godhood, and his wonderful qualities are vividly present, visible in his astrological chart. In the year 1846, on the full moon day, in the month of Falgun, in the evening time, just as the moon was rising, our Sri Satyananda Gauri appeared in this world. Actually, Satyamata, she was overdue. Her pregnancy was overdue. And the family were worried. What's going on? At that time, Satyamata's father, Nilambar Chakravarti, he was a great astrologer. And he made some astrological calculations. And by those calculations, he pinpointed, he will appear on the full moon day, in the evening, at the time of moonrise, and it will be the time of a lunar eclipse. Why? Because when the effulgent moon of Navadvip Chandra, the moon of Navadvip, Gaura Chandra, the golden moon appears, then what will be the use of this ordinary moon in the sky which has some spots? So understanding this, Rahu came and covered the face of the moon. And so it was a lunar eclipse moment. The speciality of this is that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come to inspire everyone to chant the holy names of Sri Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, at the time of the lunar eclipse, all the general people, they think this is a very inauspicious moment. And we'll have to protect ourselves. Otherwise, Rahu will come and Ketu, and they'll steal away all our punya, our pious activities. And then we won't be able to enjoy sense gratification if our good karma is eradicated by the influence of Rahu. So to protect themselves, even persons who did not believe in God, persons who have no connection with bhakti, all types of persons, they immerse themselves in the Ganges at the time of the moonrise, and they will now be chanting Hari Hari Hari. So from the very second of his appearance, he was already inspiring the whole world to chant the holy names of Sri Krishna. So then, when he appeared, at that time, all the families, the Brahmin families especially, in Navadvip, they came to visit Mother Sachi. The Brahmins came along with their wives. But Sachimata was noticing there were thousands and thousands and thousands of Brahmin ladies, very beautiful, and she'd never seen them before in the village. Why? Because the wives of all the demigods in heaven, they were coming down and taking human forms and coming to have a peep of this beautiful golden child. So the ladies of the village, they called him Nimai, because he was born beneath a neem tree, and the neem is very bitter, and it's considered to be auspicious for driving away any inauspicious influences which might harm a child. Buddhinasha, evil eye, and these things. So for auspiciousness, they called him Nimai. But after he was born, his grandfather, Nilambar Chakravarti, came there, and he is a very expert astrologer. So then he calculated the horoscope, and on the basis of this horoscope, he gave the name Vishwambar. Vishwambar. So according to astrological calculation, his name should have begun with a T, with Ta. But he used a different type of calculation, because he was not thinking in terms of Vishwambar, the supporter, the maintainer of the universe, but he was thinking in terms of that person who nourishes everyone and maintains everyone through the distribution of love. So he gave the name Vishwambar, the nourisher of the universe. indicating through the distribution of Krishna Prem in the form of Harinam Sankirtan. So, can you go to the first slide? Does the astrological evidence prove the divinity of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? That's the question we want to discuss today. So there we are. There's the birth chart of Nimai, Bedi Nimai. So Nilambar Chakrabarti, he looked at the chart and he said, oh, there are so many signs here that this person will be a king. He's Rasaraj, the incarnation of the king of Rasa Sri Krishna, absorbed in the Mahabharata, in the mood of Srimati Radhika. He said there is actually a prediction that a Brahmin will become the king of Gaudadesh. So it's true, Mahaprabhu is called Gaudeshwara. Only the future will tell whether this boy will be that person, he said. Then he looked further into his chart. He said, oh, this boy will become so learned that he'll be more intelligent and more educated than even Brihaspati, the guru of all the demigods. Is it true? Yes, because that very Brihaspati had already incarnated in the world in the form of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And after training so many students in Navya in Vitinagar and Navadvip, he had left and he was waiting for Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri. Then Mahaprabhu would go there later to Jagannath Puri and completely defeat all the Mayavad philosophy that was presented by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So yes, he will be greater than Brihaspati. One Brahmin, another very learned Brahmin also came there at the time when Nilambar Chakrabarti was reading the horoscope of Nimai. And that astrologer, he said, oh Jagannath Mishra, I offer my obeisances unto you. You are so fortunate, you are so glorious to have such a son. His name will be Vishwambar, but everyone will call him Navadvip Chandra. And he will uplift the entire universe. And then that Brahmin looked further into the chart, and there in the chart, he saw that at the age of 24, he'll take sannyas. But because everyone was celebrating the birth of the child, everyone was in a jolly mood. So then that astrologer, he kept it in his heart and he didn't mention anything. So, even we know that Nimai, when he got a little bit older, he himself went to an astrologer who was known as a Sarvakya, an omniscient astrologer. And he asked him, oh learned Brahmin, can you read my horoscope and tell me who I was in my previous life? So then that Brahmin, he looked at this astrological chart, then he began to meditate also. And in his meditation, and remembering the chart, there appeared before him the beautiful form of Bhagavan. Lord Narayan, the source of unlimited universes. And that Brahmin began to tremble and he began to shake. And he didn't say anything. So Nimai said, well, tell me, who was I in my previous life? And the Brahmin, he composed himself. He said, according to your chart, you were the source of all existence in your previous life. Nimai said, no, I think you read it wrong. I already know about my previous life. In my previous life, I was a cowherd boy. And because I was serving cows and worshipping cows by this pious activity, now in this life, I've taken birth as a Brahmin. Right? Because by doing good karma, you can gradually be elevated through the varnas, from Shudra to the Vaishya to the Kshatriya and Kshatriya to Brahmin. So from Vaishya, I became a Brahmin just by this great pious activity of being a Gopal, taking care of cows. So then that Brahmin, it just says, Yosi Tosti Namostute, whoever you are, wherever you are, my pronouns to you. Then Nimai Pandit blessed him with praying, and he realized everything. Yes, you are the incarnation of Sri Krishna himself. But because Mahaprabhu wanted to hide his identity. Just like with the Brahmin, the Brahmin who was going on Tirtha Yatra. Little Nimai revealed to him that he was Krishna, he was Gopal himself. And the Brahmin was amazed. Then Nimai said, "Don't tell anyone, otherwise I'll kill you." Keep it secret. So, now the question comes. From the chart of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, can we understand that he's Bhagavan or not? So in this regard, there is the Parashara Muni, the father of Vedavyas. He has written the Hora Shastra. And there he's given the 4 characteristics within a person's horoscope, which indicate that this person is an avatar of Vishnu. So it's very interesting because, what are the characteristics of God? Aishwaryasya, Samagrasya, Viryasya, Yasasasraya, Jnana Vairagyastava, Samabhara, Itindana. It is said that Bhagavan, he has 6 opulences. First, Aishwaryasya. That means the power to be the greatest. Everything is within him. And also the smallest. He is within everything. So that is his Aishwarya. Aishwaryasya, Samagrasya, Viryasya. Viryasya means Shakti. He has Achintya Shakti. Potencies which can even contradict each other completely and yet coexist. So Aishwaryasya, Viryasya, Yasasya. The Supreme Lord has all fame. Here Yash, fame, means Mangal Moy. That his glory is all auspicious. Just for example, in this world, there are many persons who are famous. And if you hear about them and chant about them and remember them, you'll be completely contaminated. It will not produce positive results. But the Bhagavan has all yash, all fame, means that if anyone is touched by the fame, the glory of the Supreme Lord, it will transform their life and they'll become purified. Pavanam Bhagavan Yasha. So, all yash and all Sri. Sri means beauty, all beauty. And then Jnana and Vairagya. Jnana and Vairagya are not the direct qualities of the Supreme Lord, but they're the attributes of his quality of yash. Just as from fire, 2 things come, heat and light. So from the yash, the glory of the Lord, Jnana and Vairagya emanates. So if anyone is touched by the glory of Sri Krishna, automatically, Bhakti, Vasudevi Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita, Janiyatyasu Vairagyam Jnanuchaya will come. Automatically, detachment from the world and knowledge here means the discrimination between matter and spirit. They arise automatically because they're like the heat and light emanating from his quality of yash, fame. Now, of all these 6 characteristics of Bhagavan, one is Angi and the others are Anga. So Angi means the body and Anga means the limbs. For example, here's your body, it's Angi, and the different parts, the hands, the legs, they're the Angas. So in other words, one quality is the source of all the others. So of all the qualities of God, which one is prominent and giving rise to every other quality? Sri, beauty. Beauty, sweetness. This is the main quality of the Supreme Lord. Madhurya Bhagavatasa Braja Koila Paracha Tarashuka Vyasera Nandamano Stani Stani Bhagavate Vanyachi Janite Tarasuni Mate Bhaktavan. The essence of Bhagavata, of Godhood, is his sweetness. That means Sarvavastu Charata, in every moment, the way that when he's still, the way that he moves. When he's rising, sitting, talking, sleeping, at every moment, there's Charuta, sweetness and beauty. And therefore, the prominent name of Bhagavan is Krishna. Krish means Karshati, he attracts everyone by his inconceivable beauty. So this is the main quality. So, Garga Muni has explained in the Gargahora Shastra 4 characteristics in the astrological chart that indicate the appearance of an avatar of Vishnu. You can put this brain on the screen, no better. Yeah. So the first one, in the charts of all Vishnu avatars, the moon is conjoined with the Lagna in the same nakshatra. Then the second one, both Saturn and Jupiter must aspect or join the Lagna. Then the third one, other than Saturn and Jupiter, only the sun or the moon can rule or occupy the Lagna. If other planets, grahas, occupy the Lagna, then Saturn or Jupiter must be placed in the houses ruled by those planets. Then the fourth one, the ruler of the 9th house will be placed in the 4th house from the sun, or the ruler of the 4th house from the sun will be placed in the 9th house. So it's very interesting why these 4 characteristics indicate Bhagavan. There's actual method of deriving this. So in the first one, when the moon is conjoined with the Lagna in the same nakshatra, this indicates beauty, fame, strength, and the Aishwarya, controlling power. Then the second 2 characteristics, they involve Jupiter and Saturn. So Jupiter indicates knowledge and Saturn indicates renunciation. So in the first 3 symptoms, the 6 symptoms of Bhagavan, of God, are being expressed. And the way they derived is, it's very fascinating. You have to get the book. This will be, the next book is coming out this year with all the details of the astrological chart. For example, when the sign which indicates Pran is connected with the sign that indicates the world, then it indicates this person is the Pran of the world, and so on. And like this. So there are many fine details. It's not our objective this evening to go into those details. This evening, this is just an excuse to speak about the life of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So now the 4th characteristic, the rule of the 9th house, etc. This indicates the establishment of Dharma, because when Vishnu comes to this world, what does he do? Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhutanam dharmasya tadatmanam sridhamyam pritranaya sadhunam vinasya chaduskakam dharma samsthapanataya sambhavami yuge yuge. Whenever the irreligious principles are rising up and Dharma is going down, Sri Krishna says, I appear in the world to establish Dharma and to destroy the miscreants and to deliver the devotees. I appear in this world age after age. So this establishment of Dharma is actually not the activity of Swayam Bhagavan Sri Krishna. He is Rasa Vaisaha, the embodiment of all Rasa. His only activity is relishing, loving exchanges with his devotees. But when Bhagavan comes into this world, then Paravrishe Mahadanksa Yukto Ajopijato Bhagavan Yatagini. In the 3rd canto is described that when Swayam Bhagavan Krishna comes to this world, then all of his answers, all the other avatars enter into him. So these are the general characteristics. Any avatar will have these things, but that does not prove that that person is the avatari, the source of all the avatars. So first let's see if Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is qualified to be an incarnation of Vishnu. Okay, so here's the first chart here. You can see that the moon is co-joined with the Lagna in the same nakshatra. So you can see the ascendant here is Purva Falguni, and it's in the same nakshatra. You can see the top circle. Purva Falguni, that's the ascendant, and it's in the same nakshatra as the moon sign. So that means he has the first characteristic. Let's see the next chart. Here we see Jupiter and Saturn aspect the ascendant in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's chart. So that means he has the second 2 characteristics of Vishnu. And then, next one. Yeah, next one. And then we see the ruler in the 9th house is placed in the 4th house from the sun, or the ruler in the 4th house from the sun is placed in the 9th house. So here, this indicates that this person, now with the fourth characteristic of Vishnu, he will spread the Dharma. So, Mahaprabhu says, Yuga Dhamma Pravataimu Nama Sankirtan Charibhava Bhakti Dhyanachamu Bhavan. I will appear in this world in the mood of a devotee and I will teach bhakti by my own example. I will spread it everywhere, the Yuga Dharma of Harinam Sankirtan, and I will cause everyone to dance absorbed in the four bhavs of Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya and Madhurya Rasa. So now, the question comes, no, go back. Yes, thank you. Don't jump ahead. So now the question comes, it's been demonstrated from the birth chart of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that he is definitely an incarnation of Vishnu. But is he Avatari, the source of all incarnations? This is the question. So the source of all incarnations is Krishna. Aite Chanksa Kala Pungsa, Krishna's too? Yes, in Jarita Kala Lokam Brilliant Yuge Yuge. All the various incarnations are portions and portions of portions of the Purusha avatar, but Krishna himself is Swayam Bhagavan. Swayam Bhagavan means Ananya Pekshi Yad Rupa Sa Swayam Rupa Sa Uchate. That form of God who does not depend upon any other form of God for his power, Aishwarya, and for his Madhurya, sweetness. And so that is only Krishna, Krishna in Vrindavan. He's full of opulence, but it's covered by his sweetness. And if there's opulence or sweetness in any other incarnation, where did they get it from? It's just a portion of Krishna's opulence and a portion of Sri Krishna's sweetness. So that Swayam group is independent in Aishwarya and Madhurya and Audarya, in mercy also. So, we want to know, is there evidence to show that Krishna, first of all, is Krishna, not just an avatar of Vishnu, but the origin of all the avatars? That's the first point. And then the second point is the evidence that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is that very Krishna himself. So this is what we have to address. Now, an astrological chart can be calculated in terms of the Vargas, 16 divisions. And the 16 divisions, if the moon is in the ascendant in these 16 divisions, that is indicative of the maximum amount of beauty. So we've discussed how beauty is the main quality of Bhagavan. So, if Bhagavan is the origin of all beauty, the most beautiful, then in his 16 Vargas, then the moon should be in the ascendant in all 16 Vargas. Now, for comparison, we know the astrological chart for Lord Ramachandra. And we know the astrological chart for Lord Nrsimhadev. And so if you calculate the 16 Vargas of the Lord Nrsimhadev and Lord Ramachandra, they have the moon in the ascendant in 14 out of 16 Vargas. Indicating Lord Ram is beautiful, Lord Nrsimhadev is beautiful also, but not beautiful to the maximum degree. Understand? So, that Krishna is beautiful for the maximum degree. You can see in the Vedas, Krishna is called Sodashakalatmane. Just as the moon has 16 phases, so Krishna is called Sodashakalatmane. The Lord Ramachandra is called Dwadashakalatmane. And these 16 phases which are mentioned in the Vedas indicate that only Krishna has 16 Shaktis, 16 full Shaktis. They are Sri Bhu Kanti, Sri Bhu Kirti, Ila Lila Kanti Vidyati, Vima, Utkarshini, Jnana, Kriya, Yoga, Pravi, Satya, Ishana and Anugraha. These are the 16 principal potencies, and these are only belong fully to Sri Krishna. Also in Krishna Sandarbha, Jiva Goswami, he gives evidence from the Skanda Purana, which describes also Krishna has 16 aspects of Vidya Shakti as well. So they are Landini, Chandrika, Kanta, Krura, Shanta, Mohadari, Vishani, Nandini, Shoka, Suparva, Vimalakshai, Subhadra, Shobhana, Punyaham, Sasita and Malini. So whichever way you want to look at it, Either you can take the moon being in the ascendant in 16 Vargas to mean Krishna is the most beautiful, or he's the original form of God who has all 16 Vidya Shaktis and all 16 various goddesses serving him. So let's have a look at the astrological chart of Sri Krishna. Srila Jiva Goswami in Gopal Champu has given a very long description of the position of all the various planets in Sri Krishna's chart. So usually the seminar is 6 hours. So just in 1 hour this evening, we're just touching on a few things. I'm not going into details. Order the book. Okay, so now, oh, you did it already. What happened? There you go. Those are the 16 Vargas calculated from Sri Krishna's charts, and you can see circled that in the ascendant, the moon is present in the ascendant in all 16 Vargas of Sri Krishna. So you know that after Krishna was born, Vasudeva Maharaj, he sent Gargacharya, who wrote in the Shastra about the 4 symptoms of an incarnation of Vishnu. He himself wrote it. And he went to visit Nanda Maharaj in Gokul Mahagan. And there secretly he did Krishna's horoscope and Balaram's horoscope in the Kirak, in the Goshala of Nanda Maharaj. It was done secretly because Vasudeva Maharaj was thinking, if people find out that my priest, Gargacharya, went to Gokul and did Krishna's chart there, people will become suspicious. Kamsa Maharaj will become suspicious and think that he might be my son. So in order to hide this, he told Gargacharya, go there and make this chart secretly. So Gargacharya, he did this chart, and from this chart, he could understand, yes, there's no doubt about it. Even Lord Nrsimhadev, even Lord Ramachandra only has the moon in ascendant in 14 of these Vargas, and only Krishna has complete beauty. So now, it's established, without any doubt, that on that day, about 5,350 years ago, at midnight, on the Ashtami, in the dark fortnight, in the month of Bhadra, the person who appeared at that moment was Swayam Bhagavan, Sri Krishna himself. There's no doubt about it. Now, the question is, actually in this whole day of Lord Brahma, there's no other moment, in any century, in any year, in any day, there's no moment when those characteristics appear in anyone's chart. But at the exact moment of moonrise, on the full moon day in the month of Falgun in 1486, this is the Vargas for that moment. Next chart. There. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He has the moon in the ascendant in all 16 Vargas, which means that he is the embodiment of all beauty, but only Krishna can be the embodiment of all beauty. So it means that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself. Yes. Any arguments? There can be no argument at all. Satchidananda Gauri ki jai. So now let's see. Not only are his characteristics as an avatar of the Supreme Lord who establishes the Yuga Dharma, but the characteristics that he's Swayam Bhagavan and he's Krishna himself are there in his chart. But not only that, let's look at the next chart. Now we want to look at the charts for different periods in his life. You can calculate and see what the position of the planets in various periods in his life. And here, this is from his childhood. And the characteristics here indicate 2 things. One, that he's very naughty. He's a very naughty child. And 2, the renunciation of Vishwarup. You can see here that at the bottom, Mercury in the house related to elder siblings is debilitated. So if your Mercury is debilitated in a house related to elder siblings, it means that your elder brother or sister will be quite sick and pass away at an early age. So, of course, Vishwarup is the incarnation of the Mool Sankarsha, so he cannot become sick. But still, the analogous pastime of Vishwarup passing away early when he was, after he'd taken sannyas and he was traveling through South India, he came to Pandharpur, to the temple of, not this. Who is that? Vittal, yeah. And in the temple of Vittal, in Pandharpur, Vishnu entered into the deity of Vittal there, while Nimai was still quite young. So that is indicated here by the rotating Mercury. So yes, Nimai was very naughty as a boy. Jagannath Mishra, he used to think, oh, my other son, he took sannyas. Why? Because he learned Sanskrit. And then he became very educated. Then he studied Bhagavatam in the association of Advaitacharya and other Vaishnavas. And if someone will hear the Shastra and deeply understand it, then they'll come to know that this whole world is as worthless as a piece of dry straw. And they'll leave everything and just dive into the nectar of pure bhakti for Sri Krishna. So, Jagannath Mishra was thinking, if my little Nimai, he will study so much, he'll come to the same conclusion, he may also leave. So Jagannath Mishra, he told Sachi, we should take him out of school. We should keep him at home. So even before this point, Nimai was very naughty. But at that time, he became even more naughty. He used to go in the kitchen and he used to smash everything, smash the pots, scatter the rice and dal everywhere. Not only in his own house, but also in the neighbors' houses as well. So how amazing it is. We see that in Krishna Lila, baby Krishna, he smashed only one pot of yogurt, and Mother Yashoda caught him and tied him up and bound him with a rope. But we see that now that very Krishna in the form of Nimai is not breaking one pot, he's smashing the entire kitchen to pieces with a stick. But Sachimata didn't even tie him up once. That means that Gaura Lila is more merciful than Krishna Lila. Yashoda in the form of Sachimata is even more tolerant and kind. So Prabhupada Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he said, why was Nimai performing this pastime? First of all, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's trying to attract everyone in the world. He got married and became a grihasta to attract the grihastas. He became a scholar to attract the scholars. He took sannyas to attract the renunciants. And when he was small, he was a naughty boy to attract the naughty boys. So he has so many phases in his life where he's trying to attract everyone and bring them onto the path of pure bhakti. This is one reason. And the other reason is that this entire world is the neshwar. That means it is destructible. Everything is temporary. Everything around us will disappear. It will not endure. Whatever you're thinking is important and substantial will just disappear like smoke or like a dream. But still we become very invested in external things. So just to demonstrate to everyone, hey, you know all of these things, they're all destructible. Watch this. Maybe you would get a big stick and smash everything to pieces. You see, it's all destructible. Don't put your faith in these things. So he was very naughty. Not only was he smashing things in the house, but he used to go with his school friends. After school, he would go to the bank of the Ganga, and along with his friends, they would play in the water there. So the smarter Brahmins of Navadvip, they would come and they would take bath in the Ganges, and then put on some tilak, and then do their various rituals. So after they were clean and they put on their tilak, then little Nimai would come and with a mouthful of Ganga water, spit all over them. Then they would become fierce. What have you done? Now I'm contaminated. I cannot do my rituals. I have to take bath again. So, if Swayam Bhagavan, the Supreme Lord, will spit Ganga Jal on you, will you be contaminated? They were purified. When the Brahmanas were in the Ganga, immersed up to their waist and remembering their Gayatri mantras, Om Bhurva Swaha Tatsavata, they were meditating on Brahman. Because maybe they were not devotees. in Navadvip, meditating on Brahman. And little Nimai, he would swim under the water and grab them by the feet and pull them under the water. So his friends would be on the bank and they would be watching and see a row of Brahmanas standing there, and look, they would disappear one by one under the water. He was so naughty. But actually he's very merciful. Why? Because the next day when that Brahmana was trying to remember Nirvishesh, Nirakar, Brahma, impersonal, then he was Om Bhog and one eye was open. Where's Nimai? So he raised them from the level of meditating on Brahman to meditating on Swayam Bhagavan in his most merciful form. Very kind. Sometimes little Nimai would come. There were separate ghats for the ladies and for the men. So if a sannyasi was bathing here in this ghat and an old woman was bathing in this ghat, then Nimai would say to his friend, "Shh, watch this." And he would go and he would get the sannyasi's clothes and swap them with the old lady's clothes. And then they would wait, and after a few minutes, then they would see one sannyasi in a sari running, "Oh, where is that person? Who has took my vesh?" And all the little friends of Nimai were laughing so much. In this way, he used to cause so much trouble. The girls, there's a place called Nagariya Ghat, and the young girls of Navadvip, they would come there and they would bring some sweets and some paraphernalia for the puja of Lord Shiva, and they would worship the Ganges and worship Lord Shiva they wanted to get a very qualified husband. So they would sit down and put down their sweets, and then Nimai would come and sit on the asana and grab the sweets and start eating them himself. "Hey Nimai, what are you doing? Stop! Nimai said, "Why are you worshipping Ganga? You should worship me. She's my maidservant." Then, "What are you saying, Nimai?" She Vishnu, they would cover their ears. No, give me these offerings. Why are you worshipping Shiva for a good husband? You should worship me. If I tell you, I'm a Brahmin. If you don't worship me, then I'll give you a curse. That you'll have a husband, but he won't be young and handsome, he'll be very old. And he'll be very bad-tempered. And you'll have to share him with at least 4 co-wives. So then the girls became afraid. Just then, one young girl came and she brought her paraphernalia and she bowed down to Nimai. And then she began to worship him, and all the others were amazed. What was that girl's name? Lakshmipriya. So he used to tease them. Sometimes the girls would take baths in the river, they would open their long hair, and when they came out, they were combing their hair. And Nimai, he used to take there's certain kind of seeds, and they're covered with small spikes. So if you get one of these seeds in your hair, it will take all day to just remove one of them. So he would get a handful of these seeds and just throw a whole handful of seeds in the hair of the girls. And so then they would have to spend hours and hours trying to take them out. And the whole time thinking, that Nimai. In this way, he was causing everyone to go into deep meditation on his beautiful pastimes. But one thing you should know, which is very, very important, that is that these are the childhood pastimes of Nimai. They're not his Kishore Lila. Because some persons have the idea that Nimai, when he's a Kishore, just like Krishna in Vrindavan used to tease the gopis, stealing their clothes when they're bathing in the river and so on. But these pastimes are of Madhurya Rasa. And so some persons think that this Nimai of Nadia has a Madhurya relationship with the Brahmin girls. So that is Apasiddhartha, that is one Apasampradaya, one deviation called Gauranga Nagari Bhav. Because Nimai has come to relish Radha Bhav. He has not come to be the enjoyer of Madhurya Rasa. It's not possible as a Brahmin. It will be Rasa Bhas, because a Brahmin is self-controlled. So only when he was a young, restless child, these pastimes took place with the girls, and they saw him like a brother. "Oh, you are like a brother to us. You should not tease us like this." So they don't think that this is Madhurya Rasa. Otherwise, this deviation of Gauranga Nagari Bhav will come, which is quite dangerous and displeasing to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So one day, the Brahmanas came to Jagannath Mishra and said, "Oh Jagannath Mishra, your son He's terrorizing us. Every day, after school, he comes to the ghat, he's spitting on us, he's pulling us under the water. He shows no respect at all. Then Jagannath Mishra said, oh, I'll give him a good lesson. Then he'll become well-behaved and he'll never forget the lesson that I give him today. And he took up a stick in his hand, and then those brahmanas went away. So then Jagannath Mishra was waiting there with a stick. So then when Nimai was at the ghats, then those girls who had been quarreling with him before, actually they loved him. And they said, Nimai, be careful. The brahmanas have gone and they've told your father everything. So then the friends of Nimai said, oh, today you're in trouble. All the little pandits, the boys who went to school with him, like Jagadananda Pandit, Purushottam Pandit, Murari Gupta, and they were all boys. So they said to him, now you're in trouble. So then Nimai said, no, it's no problem at all. He took some dust and he rubbed it on his body. Then he took some ink and he splashed some ink spots on his hands and on his cloth. And then taking books underneath his arm, he set off to go home. As he was arriving, his father was there. Oh, where have you been? I know what you've been doing. You've been terrorizing the brahmanas at the ghat. They told me everything. Nimai said, what? What? Oh, father, I have not even been to the ghat. I have not taken bath. I was at school doing some extra work. And now I am just leaving my books here and I haven't taken bath yet. And then Jagannath Mishra looked and saw the dust on his body and his clothing and ink spots as well. And he said, yes, it's clear. Well, indeed, it must be Kali Yuga. Even the brahmanas are not telling the truth. So then Jagannath Mishra said, yes, okay, keep your books here and go and take bath. And then Nimai quickly went back to meet with his friends and terrorized everyone. His friends were so happy. Oh yes, really. How clever you are that today you escaped a good beating. So this naughtiness of Nimai is there in his chart. And also the renunciation of Vishwarup. Let's go to the next. Now here, he had his preliminary study in the school of Gangadas Pandit, and then afterwards he went into deeper studies with the Vidya-Chastity, in the school of Vidya-Chastity. And so here, this sign in his chart is called the Mahapandit Yoga. How Nimai became a Mahapandit. He became so great that even the most famous scholar in all India, Keshav Kashmiri, he was traveling throughout India, defeating everyone. And when he came to Navadvip Dham, all the other scholars of Navadvip Dham, just hearing the name Keshav Kashmiri, they would leave their schools, they would vacate their universities and go and hide somewhere. They didn't want to meet him. But Nimai was not afraid. And he found Nimai at the Barakona Ghats. He was with his friends at Barakona Ghat. And he initiated a debate. And Nimai Pandit spoke in such a way that for the first time in his life, Keshav Kashmiri was dumbstruck. He opened his mouth, but no words came out. He had no ideas. He couldn't give any response to this boy, Nimai Pandit. And then afterwards, he felt very sad. Why? Because he had worshipped Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning. And Saraswati had given a benediction that no human being in this world will ever be more learned than you. And so he was crying and he was praying to Mother Saraswati. How is it? Not out of his own ego. Oh my Ishtadev Saraswati, oh goddess of learning, how is it that your words prove to be false? And Saraswati appeared before him and said, no, my words are never false. My words are true. I said you will never be defeated by any human being in this world. That Nimai Pandit is not a human being. He is my Prabhu. He is the great master of everyone. He is Mahaprabhu. So don't think Mahaprabhu is the name for Nimai after he took sannyas. After sannyas, his name is Sri Krishna Chaitanya. But even in Navadvip, his name was Mahaprabhu. Why? Because then the Keshav Kashmiri came back to Nimai and fell at his feet and glorified him. and revealed, oh, Mother Saraswati has told me, you are Mahaprabhu, the great master. So this is indicated here by his Mahapandit Yoga. And you can go to the next one. So then, let's see the next. Yes. So in the next chart, you can see here it is indicating the passing away of Jagannath Mishra. So when Jagannath Mishra passed away, now who was left behind? Only Sachi and Sachinandan, her son Nilai Pandit. The father has left, the elder brother has left. Who will take care of this widow and her young son? So at that time, Sachi Mata's younger sister's husband, he became the guardian of Nimai. So Sachi Mata's younger sister's husband, his name is Chandrasekhar, yes. Chandrasekhar, the uncle of Nimai, took all responsibility to take care of the family. So we'll be speaking later in the festival about the special position of Chandrasekhar, because our Prabhupada, Srila Bhakti Thakur, chose as his place of bhajan Chandrasekhar Bhavan. That Chandrasekhar Bhavan, he called it Rajpatanam, and that is the place where he performed his vow of chanting 192 rounds every day, for 3 lakhs Harinam every day for 10 years. That is the place where Srila Bhakti Thakur had the pastime of attaining his siddhi, his all perfection, and that is the place in which he's eternally residing in his Mahasamadhi. So that Chandrasekhar Bhavan has a profound significance, and we want to reveal that in the last class on the last day, so you have to wait for that. The last class on Sunday, sorry, not on Monday morning. That's one more class on Monday. So, all the avatars are present in Nimai. One day, when he was a boy, he went into the garden and he sat on the pile of disused pots. You know, in those days they would have clay pots and they would fill them with water and rice and put them on a fire. So when you cook once, then the whole pot is all black and sooty. And then it's so down, then you throw the pot away. Each pot is only used once. No need to wash anything. But the pile of pots is just a mess because they're all black and covered in soot. So little Nimai, he went and he sat on the pile of discarded pots. His mother came outside and said, "Hey, what are you doing? This is a contaminated place. This is a filthy place." And Nimai himself was all covered in soot. So at that time, he looked very beautiful. In fact, he's described in Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna Vanam Tusha Krishnam Sammopangastra Parshanam. Tusha Krishnam. His complexion is Krishna. He's not blackish, but he is blackish. Krishna Vanam Tusha Krishnam. That means Nimai Pandit has a golden complexion, but now he's covered in soot because he's playing on the pots. Krishna Vanam Tusha Krishnam. His mother said, "What are you doing here in this contaminated place?" Then Nimai went into the barb of Dattatreya. Dattatreya. You know Dattatreya? He's also known in the Srimad Bhagavatam as the Avadut Brahman, who had 24 gurus in nature. And when his mother was chastising him, then Nimai, because all the avatars are in him, he went into the Avesh of Dattatreya and began to instruct his mother in the mood of Dattatreya. Dvaiti Bhadra Bhadra Gyan Savamanudam Ei Bala Ei Manda Ei Sabhram. Oh mother, this idea that this is pure and this is impure, that this is good and this is bad, this is all manodharma, it's a creation of the mind. So one should rise above all these dualities. The Avadut Brahmana has described that he learned from 24 gurus in nature. So one of them is the spider. What did Dattatreya learn from the spider? He said that just as a spider produces from his own mouth the material of his web, and then he makes a web, and then he himself enters into that web and wanders around. So in the same way, Vasudeva Sarvam Iti. Vasudeva, see, Krishna is everything. From his own body, he manifests the ingredients of the universe. And then he enters into the universe and wanders around. Now, this is, a general person may take it that just as a spider enters into his web and wanders around, so in the same way, Krishna, he as an avatar, he descends into this world and he wanders around the world. And he's not entangled in the web, though he's moving in it, just like a spider is not entangled in his own web. This is one meaning. But the actual meaning of the words of the Avadut Brahmin is this, that the spider enters into the web and wanders around. In the same way, the Lord creates the whole universe from his body, and then he enters into those ingredients in the form of every living entity. Every living entity, and wanders within that web. This is the actual fact. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna saw it. Krishna was thinking, oh, here we are. I'm on the side of the Pandavas, and there's Prayojan on that side, and there's the good guys and the bad guys, and they're all about to have a war. But in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna showed Arjuna the universal form. And then Arjuna, he realized, oh Krishna, you have thousands of heads, thousands of arms. Sahasra Shirsha, Purushaha, Sahasraksha, Sahasrapati. You are everything. You are everything and you are everyone. You are all the warriors on both sides. We have that realization. So this is the realization of the very conceptual nature of this world. But due to ahankar, we just try to steal one of those forms of the Supreme Lord and say, this is mine. This body belongs to Paramatma. It's primarily his body. We're just staying here momentarily, and it doesn't belong to us, it's his body. Everybody's body is Paramatma's body. And Paramatma is doing everything. Only out of Maya, only out of ignorance, only out of ahankar, we adopt one and we see the universe from the vantage point of one body and think this is me. But actually what is there? Vasudeva Saramiti. Bahunam Janmanamante Gyanaram Prabhatente. A person who takes birth many, many times, when they finally come to actual knowledge and they surrender because they realize there's nothing else to do. Because there's only Krishna. So Dattatreya revealed this, and Nimai, he became absorbed in the mood of Dattatreya, saying, what is pure and what is impure? A person whose consciousness is pure see the Supreme Lord everywhere. So for him there's no good and there's no bad. Nothing bad ever happened anywhere in the past, the present, or in the future. This is all Manodharma, the creation of the mind. We have no enemy in this world. Dattatreya, he taught this. The cause of our suffering is not our past karma, it's not the demigods, it's not any other living entities, it's only one thing, Manodharma, our own uncontrolled mind. So Nimai, he became absorbed in this mood and he was preaching to Sakyamata. Sometimes he would become absorbed in the mood of Kapil Dev. And just as Kapil Dev instructed his mother Devahuti, then Nimai would instruct Sakyamata. So, can we go to the next one? Then, here, this aspect of the job shows the passing away of Lakshmi Priya. There's a very beautiful description. Lakshmi Priya is actually from Vaikuntapur. You know, in Navadvip Dham, if you do Parikrama of Moda Drumadvip, you can come to the village called Vaikuntapur. And so it's quite appropriate because he's the incarnate, Lakshmi Priya is the incarnation of Lakshmi Devi, or we can say the incarnate, that is Sri Lakshmi, and also the incarnation of Rukmini. So she was born there in the house of Vallabh Mishra. And the pastime of Nimai's wedding with Lakshmi Priya is so beautiful, it's very attractive. When people in this world, they feel so much joy when there's a wedding. And it's very moving. All the younger people are thinking, oh, this wedding is so nice, when will I also get married? And the older people there crying, remembering, oh, I remember when I was young and I got married. And everyone in one way or another is relishing the wedding. But this relishment of social events is a cause of bondage in this world. It causes one to be more and more bewildered and attached. But if a person will feel joy hearing about the beautiful wedding of Vishwambar and Lakshmi Priya, then this unentangles them from the bondage of the material world. It's the same thing that you have a wedding, but because the object of this wedding is the Supreme Lord and His Shakti, it has the antithetical effect of liberating us from this world. So, after being married to Lakshmi Priya, Nimai, actually at this point he had met with Ishwar Puri. Ishwar Puri was visiting Navadvip Dham. He used to stay with the Gadara Pandit, and he used to give classes. And Nimai used to go, and every day for about 7 months, Nimai was sitting and listening to the lectures of Ishwar Puripad, and he was very impressed. In fact, Ishwar Puripad had written a poem at that time called Krishna Lilamrita, and he was concerned, perhaps in my poem there's some mistake in the grammar, so let me give this to Nimai Pandit. He's a great Vaikarana, he's an expert in grammar, he should check it for any mistake. So he gave the manuscript to Nimai, and Nimai went through, and then he came to Ishwar Puripad and said, oh, this verb has not been conjugated correctly. It should be conjugated in this way, not in that way. So then, Ishwar Puripad, he said, oh, okay. And then he thought about it, and he came back and said, Nimai, no, this can be conjugated in this way also. And then Nimai Pandit was struck with what it was the first time he'd actually been defeated. So it was a sign. It was a sign that this person would be his guru in the future. So Nimai said, look, it doesn't matter. Anything that you write is perfect. Why? Dhiro vadati vishnave. Murko vadati vishnaya. Dhiro vadati vishnave. Upayo tu samam punyam. Bhava grahi janardana. Nimai said, look, if a person is educated in grammar, when they make an offering to Vishnu, what will they say? Om Vishnave Namaha. But a murka, a foolish and uneducated person, they'll say, just like when they offer to Krishna, they say, Yadavaya, Madhavaya, Krishnaya. So when they offer to Vishnu, they'll say, Vishnaya. But it's wrong, because you don't decline the noun that ends in a U with this dative ending. So Mahaprabhu said, if someone is not educated, instead of saying Vishnave Namaha, they'll say Vishnaya Namaha. But the fact of the matter is this, Ubayatu Samam Punyam, both of them, the educated person and the illiterate person, they get the same amount of benefits when they say the mantra. Even though one says it correctly and one says it incorrectly. Why? Bhava Grahi Janardana. Janardana Krishna is Bhava Grahi. He does not accept your expertise and your education. He accepts only your bhav, your mood. So if those persons, the person offering with the correct mantra and the person offering with the incorrect mantra, if they both have a loving mood, then they both get the same benefit, because Bhava Grahi Janardana, Krishna only accepts our love, our emotions, our affection for Him. So he said, oh, Ishwar Puripad, there can be no defect anywhere in your work. Why? Because it is expression of your love for Krishna, so Krishna accepts it. So after some time, Nimai, he went traveling to teach in East Bengal, what is now Bangladesh. And while he was away, Lakshmi Priya, she felt so much separation, and this was manifest in the form of a snake. You know, it said that she was bitten by a snake and she passed away. But actually she was bitten by the snake of separation from Nimai. She couldn't tolerate the separation, so she became unmanifest. And this disappearance of his wife is indicated here in the chart. So then, you can go to the next one. Now, Sachimata was very worried. She thought, now my son, he doesn't have a wife to keep him at home. Then there's a great possibility that he'll also take sannyas, just like his elder brother. So I have to arrange another marriage for him. So then Sachimata, she arranged for Nimai to be married to Vishnupriya. Vishnupriya is the incarnation of Bhushakti, or we can say the incarnation of Navada Bhakti, 9 types of regulative devotional service. Or also we can say that Vishnupriya is the incarnation of Satyabhama Devi. It's significant that in the Yoga Pit, in Navadvip, if you go there are 3 altars. Right? You've seen the temple? So that temple was established by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in the birthplace of Mahaprabhu. But the arrangement of the temple was an instruction to him, given to him by Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. He said, in the middle, you should have an altar with Gaur Narayan, the opulent form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Gaur Narayan, with his 2 Lakshmis, Lakshmi Priya and Vishnu Priya. And then on this side, there should be the Panchatattva, and on this side, there should be Radha Madhav and Gauranga, but without the rest of them, just Gauranga like this. Why? Because actually, the service of Radha Madhav in Braja can only be attained by Raganuga Bhakti. But ordinary persons, they cannot immediately enter into Ragamara. First, they'll have to follow Vaidhi Bhakti and become acquainted with the opulent feature of the Lord. And therefore, first of all, in the middle, there is Gaur Narayan, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his opulent feature with his 2 Lakshmis. Then, understanding that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Supreme Lord, one should take shelter of the Panchatattva and participate in their Sankirtan pastimes. And gradually, by becoming purified, Chaito Darpanam Marjanam Bhava Mahadavati Nevapanam Shrikara Chandakavitanam Vidyavatu Jivanam, the heart becomes cleansed, one becomes free from the bodily conception of life, and his Vaidhi Bhakti will become infused with lobe, with greed, and then the person will be qualified to worship Radha and Krishna. So Radha Madhav in the Nikunjas of Vrindavan. So Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, he gave this instruction to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he established the Navadvip Yoga Pit in that way, in a way which is most beneficial for all devotees. So Vishnupriya is considered to be the incarnation of Navada Bhakti, 9 types of regulative devotional service. So if a person is on the path of Vaidhi Bhakti and worshipping Gaura in a yugal form, then they worship Gaura and Vishnupriya. So my Gurudev, he established the temple of Gaura Vishnupriya in the village of Baldev village in Brajnandal, on the eastern side of the Jamuna. If one wants to worship Chaitanya Mahaprabhu yugal in Madhurya Rasa, then the worship is to Gaura Gadadhar, because they are Radha and Krishna themselves. So you can see here, this where we circled, these are indications of Nimai's second marriage to Vishnupriya. Actually, though Mahaprabhu married Vishnupriya, at that time he was now so absorbed in bhakti. You can go to the next one. Yes. He decided to go to Gaya, because in Vedic culture, when someone's father passes away, they have to do a Shraddha ceremony, Pinda, for him. And they like to go, the main place for these ceremonies is Gaya. So Nimai Pandit, he travelled all the way to Gaya to do Pinda for his deceased father, Jagannath Mishra. And when he was there, he met again with Ishwara Puri, whose association he had been listening to his classes in Navadvip before. And when he saw Ishwara Puripad, He says, Prabhu kohi tirthayatra safala ama yakshana dekailam charne tuma. Oh, now my visit to this holy tirtha has become successful. The very moment I saw your lotus feet. And Mahaprabhu requested him, please accept me as your disciple and teach me Vedanta. Ishwara Puripad said, you are Murka. What do you understand about Vedanta? Understand this. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama Yotiram, Kalo Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva Gatiramyata. In the Naradiya Purana, it is said that the holy name, the holy name, the holy name is everything. There is nothing but the holy name. In this age of Kali, there is no other refuge, there is no other refuge, there is no other refuge. Just understand this. And Ishwara Prabhupada gave him the Gopal mantra, 10 syllables. Now, we have the 18 syllable Gopal mantra, but he gave him the last 10 syllables of that mantra, which is focused fully on Madhurya Rasa. And he gave him the Hare Krishna mantra. And then Nimai, he went away and he began to repeat the mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Being absorbed in the Sambandha Gyan, the relationship that awakens in the heart by the influence of the Gopal mantra. His guru told him, Krishna mantra hoite habe samsara mochan, Krishna nama hoite pave Shri Krishna charan. Oh my dear child, by this Gopal mantra, you will be liberated from this world. It will establish your Sambandha relation with Krishna. And then by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, you will directly serve the lotus feet of Shri Krishna. So then Nimai went away and began to chant japa. And very soon he went into samadhi, he went into a trance. When we are chanting, it's very important, don't be inattentive. We have to be completely absorbed in that. Otherwise it's not japa. Mano madhye stito mantro mantra madhye stitam mana. Mano mantram sumayaktam etadhi japa lakshanam. Japa has some symptoms. It's not written anywhere in the scripture that if you take your japa mala and just repeat the mantra, that this is japa. This is not the symptom of japa. The symptom of japa is mano madhye stito mantro. You put the mantra in your mind and only the mantra, nothing else should be in the mind. Then you put your mind in the mantra. Put the mantra in your mind and your mind in the mantra and mix the two together, that you are not aware of anything else in all existence. Etadhi japa lakshanam. The total union of one's consciousness with the vibration of the mantra, that is called japa. So he did this. And what is the result if someone will do this? Not only half thinking of the mantra and half thinking about whatever, checking your email, but completely absorbed. And he went into samadhi. And in his trance he saw a very beautiful boy with the complexion of a rain cloud, with a peacock feather in his hair, holding a flute, standing beneath a kadamba tree. He was smiling and looking lovingly towards him. And his fragrance was so overwhelming that our Nimai, he wanted to embrace him, he couldn't resist, and he got up and he ran to embrace, but that boy disappeared. And then Nimai fell to the ground. He was unconscious. When he woke up, he was weeping, sometimes laughing, sometimes dancing, sometimes rolling on the ground. So he went back to his Gurudev and said, Kiva mantra diligo sai, kiva tarbal, japite mantra karele pagal. Oh guys, oh Gosai, oh Gurudev, what kind of mantra did you give me? I began to repeat it and now I became pagal. I became mad. His Guru said, oh, you are very fortunate and I am fortunate to have a disciple like you. You don't worry. Krishna nama mantra eto subhav, jai japitare Krishna upajay bhav. It is the very nature of the Mahamantra that if someone will do japa, actual japa of this mantra, then bhav, ecstatic love, will awaken in his heart. Evam Bhartaswa Pranama Kirtya Jatano Rago Drutachit Uchay Hasatati Roti Rati Gayatamada Nirti Lokabhaya. Then his guru taught him one verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the essence of Srimad Bhagavatam. If a person makes a vow to complete a fixed number of Harinam every day, and he calls the names Priyanam, the names of that form of Krishna who is very beloved to him. Hey Madan Mohan, oh Radharaman, hey Gopinath, and he sings the kirtan, then what will happen? His heart will melt, and he will begin to weep and laugh and cry as various beautiful charming pastimes appear before his eyes. At that time, he doesn't care what anyone thinks. By Lokabhaya, he's indifferent to public opinion. Everyone thinks that he's mad, but actually they're mad. That devotee has come to the reality now. So his guru taught him this, and then Nimai, after his initiation, these are the signs indicating initiation in the chart of Nimai Pandit. And then he returned back to Navadvip. You can go to the next chart. Here in this chart, Saturn is in Parivartan with Mars, which is in the 6th house of Capricorn, and Jupiter is hemmed in between both planets in the 5th house. This indicates Mahaprabhu's pastime of mercifully distributing the holy names. So this indicates the inauguration of the Sankirtan movement. When Nimai Pandit came back to Navadvip, as he was approaching the village, some villagers saw him. Said, "Oh, how was your Tirtha Yatra, your visit to the holy places?" Nimai folded his hands. He said, "By your mercy, it was successful." And they couldn't believe it. What happened? That person who left Navadvip was a proud scholar, going here and there with his friends, challenging everyone to different debates in logic and grammar and astrology and various subjects. But now this person who has returned, he's not Nimai Pandit, Nimai the scholar, but he's Rasik Nimai, he's Bhavuk Nimai, absorbed in Bhav. So Nimai, he went to his teacher, Gangadas Pandit, and under the auspices of Gangadas Pandit, in the house of Mukunda Sanjay, Nimai had his own toll, his own school. That was the custom those days, that the advanced students, they would then become teachers and have their own students nearby their own teacher. So there's a place in Navadvip, in the just in front of the yoga pits, go towards the Ganges and a little bit to the north, there's a place called Bururi Danga. Bururi Danga, the old name of that place is Bharadwaj Tila, and that's the location of Gangadas Pandit's school, and just next to that is the house of Mukunda Sanjay, where Nimai Pandit has his school. So when he came back, he gave pranam to his teacher, that Gangadas Pandit. And Gangadas Pandit could see, oh, he's become a Vaishnava. He's overwhelmed with love for Krishna. And he congratulated him. He said, "Oh, now you have the fruit of your education. What is the use of education if your education doesn't lead you to become a devotee of Sri Krishna?" So for today, you should not teach. Even if Lord Brahma himself will come and tell you to open your books. But today, you should not open your books. Just take one day off. But from tomorrow, you should come back and you should resume your teaching. So then Nimai, he took that day off. And the next day he came back to the school and he sat down with all the students and they took their palm leaf manuscripts, and it's the tradition that when the students open their books, they have to open the books and say, Hari! Hari! When Nimai heard this vibration, Hari! Then he lost external consciousness. He went into ecstatic trance. The students began to ask questions. "Oh teacher, please tell us, what is the meaning of this verbal roots?" Nimai said, Dhatu means root. That is the activity. But you should know that the Dhatu, the root of everything, is Krishna. Krishna is in the heart of everyone. If Krishna is not there, then the body is lifeless and you take it and burn it at the ghats. There is no activity. All activities are coming from Sri Krishna. So all verbs, they will indicate Sri Krishna. They ask, what is the meaning of Varnashram Dharma? Varnashram Dharma means Krishna. Every word they asked him. He said, Krishna Mata, Krishna Pita, Krishna Dhamma Pran. Krishna is your mother, Krishna is your father, Krishna is your Pran. Understand? Just like we were speaking about the revelation of Dattatreya and the spider. He had actually realized, and he asked his guru, please teach me Vedanta. He said, just chant Hare Krishna. Why? By chanting Hare Krishna, you can realize Vedanta. Vedanta says, Chara chara vyapasrayas tu syat. Tad vyapadesho bhaktas tadvava bhavitvat. In Vedanta Sutra it is said that because Sri Krishna is the basis of all existence, because all forms are based on his forms, because he has entered into everything and caused everything to exist, he is present everywhere, nothing is separate and distinct from him. Therefore, every word in the dictionary is primarily his name. And only secondarily does it relate to objects as we conventionally conceive of them. In other words, when the material covering of the ear is being pierced, then one experiences the transcendental nature of all sounds. And every sound, the in vidva vritti vritti, every sound indicates Krishna. A person who is in Krishna consciousness cannot be conscious of anything other than Krishna, because there is not anything other than Krishna. And if we think that there's a Dvitiya, another subject, and we're absorbed in that, then Bhayam Dvitiya Ani Abhinivesha Tasyat, we become Mayadeen, under the control of Maya and filled with fear. This is what it means to receive Diksha. Bhaktyaikaresham Gurudeva Tatma. When a person accepts Gurudev as his life and soul and serves him, then Maya is lifted, and every word indicates Krishna, every sound indicates Krishna. Krishna consciousness means there is only consciousness of Krishna. And now Nimai Pandit was in that state. So whatever question they asked him, he could only answer Krishna and explain it in that way. So then, after some time, he came down from his trance. And he said to the boys, did you understand anything I said? They said, no, we couldn't understand anything. Very difficult. If a great realized Vaishnava will just speak his heart, any conditioned soul they cannot understand. Unless they're fully surrendered to him and serving him life and soul, then that vibration will pierce the covering of the ear. That's called the Karna Bhed Sanskar, the ear-piercing ceremony. That is the real meaning of Diksha. And then the divine face of all sounds becomes revealed to that disciple. So they said, no, we couldn't understand anything that you said. Then Nimai said, I'm sorry. After some time, the boy said, you've just been talking all these things that we don't understand for 10 days, and we're just completely behind in our syllabus. Because there's a fixed syllabus you have to complete in a fixed number of years. Nimai said, oh, why didn't you tell me? Look, I'm sorry, I can't teach this syllabus anymore. So you have my permission, you should all go and find another teacher, because I can't teach this syllabus anymore. But all the boys, they were so attracted to Nimai. He's so beautiful, so charming, Krishna himself, playing as a Brahmin boy in Navadvip, doing his Vidyavilas, educational pastimes. Vidyavilas. They were so attached to him. They thought, they had to make a choice between their education and leaving Nimai. So they said, oh Nimai, we don't want to go to another teacher, we only want to hear from you. So if you cannot teach us the syllabus, then just teach us whatever you want to teach us and we'll learn that. So then Nimai Pandit said, alright, all of you, clap your hands. Hare Hare Namo Krishna Yantavaya from the Bharadwaj Tilla, from the house of Mukunda Sanjay, and that is indicated in the chart here, the inauguration of the Sankirtan movement when Nimai was 24 years old. Sorry, when Nimai was 23 years old. It was about just less than 1 year, just under 1 year before he took sannyas. So he was 23 years old at that time. That inauguration of the Sankirtan movement signaled the end of his Vidya-vilas. He had education pastimes, but when he began his Sankirtan, that was the end of the educational pastimes and the beginning of the Sankirtan vilas, the relishing of the holy names. So it seems like a very simple and tender story of how Nimai Pandit's educational pastimes came to an end. But in this conversation between Nimai Pandit and his students, then the deepest realities of the Vedanta Sutra have been expressed, and it has been revealed what it's really like to be in Avesh, absorbed in Harinam Sankirtan. Sarvatma Snapanam Param. It is a complete bathing. It's a total immersion of the body, mind, senses, intelligence, determination, everything in the holy name, and nothing else exists. And that's not an illusion, that is the reality. Anything other than that is actually not real. That is the Vedyam Vastavam Atravastu Shivadam Tapatra Unmulanam, the factual, enduring reality that uproots the threefold miseries. So then, you can go to the next one. So here, we can see a Parivartan shows a very big change. So between the 4th house, which indicates household life, and the 6th house indicates renunciation. And so, Mahaprabhu accepted the renounced order of sannyas. Since Saturn is also the ruler of the 7th house traveling, we can see a change of place as well, from Navadvip to Jagannath Puri. Navadvip here is indicated by Libra and Jagannath Puri by Capricorn. So, here at the age of 24, you can see Mahaprabhu's chart, and 2 things are indicated: his pastime of accepting sannyas, and then his tour of South India. One day, Nimai was sitting and chanting the holy name, and he became absorbed in such a bhav. He began to cry, "Gopi, Gopi, Gopi." And a Brahmin boy came to him and said, "What are you doing, chanting Gopi, Gopi? It's not written anywhere in the scripture you should chant Gopi, Gopi. You should chant Krishna. By chanting Krishna, you can earn some piety." When Nimai heard this, he became furious. He jumped up and he took a stick, and he was about to beat that Brahmin boy, but he ran away. He quickly ran away and told all his friends. He said, "Who does this Nimai Pandit think he is? He's the son of Jagannath Mishra, but he's not more aristocratic than us. Why is he behaving as if he's a king and thinks that he can give punishment to others?" We should get together, and if he makes any other transgression, we should beat him. We should retaliate. So Nimai Pandit, actually, he was absorbed in the mood of Shrimati Radharani. Mrigayurivakapindram vidyadelu Srimakita virupam srijita kamayanam Balimapi baliratvam dvastaya vansadyadvas Tadalamasita sakya justajastat kataka. When Sri Krishna was taken away from Braj by Akrura on his chariot, and he was taken to Mathura, then Radhika became mad in separation. And she saw one bumblebee and thought that that bumblebee was a messenger who had come from Mathura to give some news, some message from Sri Krishna. And Radhika was quarreling with that bumblebee. She said, "Oh bumblebee, we don't need to hear from you anything about Krishna. We know him since we were born, we grew up with him. You are a new associate. So whatever you have to tell us about Krishna, that will be Purana. Purana means old news. That will be old news. Look, we know that Krishna, he is cruel. And he is ungrateful. And he's the acts against Dharma. Why? We heard from Purnamasi Devi, in his previous life he was Lord Ramachandra. And Lord Ramachandra, he, from a hiding place, he shot the monkey Bali when he was in a duel with Sugriv. So hunters are very cruel. But even hunters don't shoot monkeys because nobody likes the taste of monkey meat. So the hunters are so cruel, but how cruel was he in a previous life that he killed a monkey? And from a hidden place, not like a real Kshatriya. Kshatriya must announce, I am Prince so-and-so, the son of King so-and-so. Take up arms against me. And they have to fight face to face on equal terms. But he killed Bali from a hidden place like a sniper. So his behavior is so bad, he's untrustworthy, he's cruel, and especially he's cruel to women. You know what Lord Ramachandra did? In Srimakrita Virupam Sridhita Kalayanam, when Suparnaka, the sister of Ravan, was attracted to him, then he had Lakshman cut off her nose and ears. Not only did he reject her, but he made her become disfigured in such a way that she could never have any relationship, any loving relationship with a man for the rest of her life. So he's especially cruel to women, from not only in this life, this is from the previous samskars. That's habit is with him. Oh, we also heard that before he was Vamandev, and although Bali Maharaj was very, very humble and surrendered everything to him, but what did he do? He bound him up and he pushed him down to the low planetary system, Sutal planetary system. Bali Maharaj was just doing a yagya. And Vamandev came and spoiled the whole yagya, like a crow. You know, if you want to perform a fire sacrifice and you set up everything, you have all the paraphernalia, it's all shiny, but crows are attracted to shiny things. And they're disgusting and contaminated because they go to the rubbish dump and they eat disgusting things and dead bodies. So then a crow, being attracted by the paraphernalia of the yagya, they come and they spoil everything. So Radharani said, oh, in his previous life, as Vamandev, he was just like a crow. Bali Maharaj was doing a yagya and he came and he spoiled the whole yagya. So Ram is blackish, and crows are also blackish, and Krishna is blackish. So we know that Krishna, he has no fault. It is not the fault of Krishna, it's the fault of black. That all dark persons, you cannot trust them. So Sita, we've had enough, we don't want anything to do with this. Sita is white, Asita is not white. We've had enough of this dark personality, and we don't want to have anything to do with him anymore. Then the bumblebee said, you say you don't want to have anything to do with him, but you're just talking about him all the time, non-stop. Radharani said, yes. Tadanamasita Satya, this is the problem. We can give up Krishna, but we cannot give up Krishna Katha. Krishna Katha, actually is Krishna, but more powerful and more merciful. Krishna can leave the gopis, but Krishna Katha cannot leave them. So, at that time, Radharani was crying, and she needed the shelter of her Sakhis. So she was calling Gopi, Gopi, Gopi. Mahaprabhu was in that mood and calling Gopi, Gopi, Gopi. And then that Brahmin boy came. What are you saying this, Gopi, Gopi? You should say Krishna, you get piety according to Shastra. So actually, another reason Mahaprabhu was angry was because this is non-aparat. Because the common persons think, if we chant the name of God, we'll get piety, and from this piety, then we can go to heaven and we can enjoy and have a good life. We'll have a lucky life. So this is offense to the holy name. Dharma brata tyaga hutarita sarva shubhakriya samyam abhipramada. Not even accidentally should anyone ever consider that the chanting of the holy name is equal to the performance of dharmas, brata, oblations, and various types of pious activities. It's a great offense to the holy name. So that also means that a person does pious activities to get some worldly benefit. So if we deliberately chant the holy name to get some worldly benefit, then it becomes an offense. So, for these reasons, Mahaprabhu became angry and began to chase him. And seeing that the Brahmin community were going against him, Then Nimai thought, I came with the medicine of Pipikanda. If someone has an excess mucus, then you can give this medicine, Pipikanda, and it will cure them. So Mahaprabhu said, I came with this medicine of Pipikanda, but somehow the disease is becoming worse. It's increasing. So what should I do? So he was thinking that I came to bring this nectar of the holy name, but the people here, they don't understand me. They cannot understand my ecstatic mood, so they're making more offenses, and they'll be ruined. So the answer is, I must take sannyas. Because in Vedic culture, everyone gives respect to a sannyasi. So if I take sannyas, then all these householders of Navadvip and the Brahmins even, when they see me, they'll bow down instead of trying to criticize me. And by this they'll be elevated in their bhakti. So for the benefit of others, Nimai decided to take sannyas. So on the day of Makara Sankranti, in the year 1510, in the month of Magh, when it was very cold, then Nimai, he woke up in the middle of the night. Gadadhar Pandit was staying nearby. He got up and took the hand of Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu said, Ekam eva dutyam. In the Upanishads, it's the Ekam eva dutyam. The supreme truth is one without a second. That means, oh Gadadhar, I am going alone. Don't come with me. And then Nimai went outside, and when he got into the courtyard, Sachimata, who a mother can feel things, she can understand, like a telepathic connection with her child. So she knew that he would leave somehow or other, and she was standing in the courtyard, frozen like a statue. So when he saw his mother, then he said, oh mother, I can never repay you. It is only by your kindness that I have come to be educated and realize the ultimate goal of life. So now please bless me that I can attain the lotus feet of Krishna. And he did parikrama 4 times of Sachimata. And he bowed down and took the dust from her feet. And then, becoming harder than a thunderbolt, without looking back, he ran and he dove into the Ganga Nidai Ghats. It was Magh, the month of Magh, very cold. But he did not feel the coldness of the Ganga because he was feeling the heat of separation of Sri Krishna. And swimming frantically and calling out, Krishna, 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 he crossed the Ganga. And he was gone. Nimai left Navadvip. That is indicated here. The change of place and the renunciation. He went to Katwa and received. Saraswati appeared on the tongue of Keshava Bharati, and through Keshava Bharati, his name was announced, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Because you awakened the Chaitanya, the consciousness of Krishna in everyone, your name will be Sri Krishna Chaitanya. So he took sannyas, and then, of course, he wanted to go to Vrindavan. But Nityananda tricked him and brought him back to Shantipur. And there he met with Mother Sachi, and she persuaded him, no, you should go to Jagannath Puri. So that is indicated here in the chart. The change of place that is indicated by Libra and Capricorn. So Capricorn is a movable sign, and it indicates that Mahaprabhu traveled extensively from that point on. Because when Mahaprabhu arrived in Puri, he only stayed there for a very short time in the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And from there he decided he wanted to go on a tour of South India. This is significant for so many reasons. First of all, he said, I want to find my brother. Because he thought, oh, my brother Vishnu has accepted sannyas and he must be traveling somewhere in South India. And it's true, he did go to South India, but he had already left in the city of Pandapur. So, but on the pretext of going to South India to search out his brother, actually, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had another reason. He had heard from Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya that there was a Vaishnava who is Param Rasik. supremely expert in relishing the nectar of Sri Krishna's pastimes. And his name is Ramananda Rai. And so, on the pretext of searching out his brother, he left for the tour of South India, but his real motivation was sadhu sangha. Not only ordinary sadhu, but the Braj Rasik sadhu, a sadhu who is absorbed in the nectarian rasa of the Braja Leela. So he went to search out Ramananda Rai. So like Gurudev used to say, just see what teaching is Mahaprabhu giving here. He's giving this teaching. He said Mahaprabhu was Trinada Pi Sunichena, more humble than a blade of grass. But it was not enough. Mahaprabhu he had received Diksha from Ishvara Pripad, but it was not enough. He had greed to attain the service of Sri Krishna in the mood of Radhika, in Braja, but it was not enough. Even he took sannyas and renounced the whole world to fulfill his desire, but it was not enough. What was missing? Bhajan Shiksha Guru, from whom he will hear the Rasakatha, and who will inspire him and give the instructions on the internal moods of service. What is Anurag, Rudra Bhav, Ati Rudra Bhav? What is Prem Vilas Vivarta? All of these mysteries. Even these such words like Prem Vilas Vivarta, they had never even been heard in the world. They're most secret things. No one had spoken about them. No one knew about them. But all those things were in the heart of Ramananda Rai. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu set off for his tour of South India to find that Braj Rasik association and hear again and again and be nourished. So he came onto the bank of Godavari, and there he met with Ramananda Rai. He heard from Ramananda Rai about Vaidhi Bhakti, about Raghanova Bhakti, about Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya Rasa. Within Madhurya Rasa, he heard the glories of the gopis, and within that, the glories of Radhika. And then Mahaprabhu said, Adhikayava, is there anything else? Ramananda Rai said, no one ever asked me to go say anything more than this, but I tell you there is something else. It's called Prem Vilas Vivarta. And Ramananda Rai began to speak, and Mahaprabhu covered his mouth. But when he took his hand away, then he could not check it had to come out. Because that's the nature of Sakhis. If a Sakhi has something in her heart, she has to speak it and share it with her Sakhi. That's the meaning of Sakhis are like that. They cannot contain their ecstasy. Because Ramananda Rai is the incarnation of Vishaka Sakhi. Mahaprabhu had to go to Ramananda Rai because Sajataya Shesni Dei Sadhu Sangha Soto Bare. Sadhu Sangha means to associate with the sadhu who is absorbed and realizing the mood that we're aspiring for. If someone is in a Sakyarasa, then one can approach them and hear about the glories of Sakyarasa from them and become perfect in that mood. But if someone is in Madhurya Rasa, they aspire for Madhurya Rasa, they have to go to the Vaishnava in Madhurya Rasa. So of all the gopis of Vrindavan, even though in Navadvip Mahaprabhu had this association of Swarup Damodar, Swarup Damodar is the incarnation of Lalita Sakhi. But Lalita is Pragalbha. She's very bold. She's more mature. She's 27 days older than Srimati Radhika. So Lalita Sakhi's mood is not like Radhika's mood. But Lalita Sakhi Guna Ramita Vishanke. Here Lalita Sakhi means Radharani. The friend of Lalita, that is Radharani, Guna Ramita, her qualities are reflected in Vishaka. Because Radhika and Vishaka Sakhi are born on the same day, in the same year, at the same moment. They have the same astrological chart. So Radhika is a Madhyanayika. And that's medium mood, not too bold, pragalpa, and not too naive and innocent. That mood is there in the Shaka. So Vishaka's mood is very close to Radhika's mood, and because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna, who appeared in this world to realize the mood of Srimati Radhika, so he had to go to South India and take shelter of Ramananda Rai, who is the incarnation of Vishaka Sakhi. And there he heard all about the Mahabhav Swarup of Radhika. How every ornament, every cosmetic, every cloth of Radhika is made of various moods of love for Sri Krishna. And by hearing these things, Mahaprabhu became perfect in his realization of Radha Bhav. And Ramananda Rai said, oh, at first I was looking at you, and you had the appearance of a golden sannyasi. But now I'm looking, and I see a very beautiful sham-colored cowherd boy. He's holding a flute in his hands, and his eyes are wandering here and there in various ecstasies. And just to his left side, I see a Kanchana Putalika, a beautiful golden doll, and the golden effulgence of that golden doll is spreading and completely bathing him. And that cowherd boy is becoming golden now. This is what I am seeing. Mahaprabhu said, yes, of course. Stavra Jamnavadeki Nadeki Taranoti. Sarvatra Hoinija Istadeva Spurti. It's the nature of Mahabhagavats that they see their Ishtadev. Radha and Krishna is Ishtadev. So you see Radha and Krishna everywhere. Ramananda said, don't try to cheat me. And there he had the darshan. Mahaprabhu gave the darshan. Who is he? Radha Krishna Milit Mahabhava Rasaraja Mahabhav Militatanu. The combined form of Rasaraj Krishna and Mahabhav Swarupa Sri Radha Thakurani. And having that darshan of Radha Krishna, then combining in the form of Mahaprabhu, Ramananda Rai fainted. He fell unconscious. After some time, Mahaprabhu touched him, and by his touch he was revived. And Mahaprabhu said, shh, don't say anything to anyone. They may joke. You should know that I am golden only because of the touch of Srimati Radhika. But Srimati Radhika never touches anyone except for the son of Nanda Maharaj. Don't tell him. So Ramananda Rai said, oh my Lord, please stay with me for a few days here, so we can hear Harikatha's. Please spend a week or so with me. Mahaprabhu said, no. No. Why 1 week? You should give up your job in the government of Prabhupada Maharaj. And when I go back to Puri, you should come and you should stay with me there in Jagannath Puri, and we should relish Harikatha together for our whole life. Mahaprabhu is setting the example. What is the path of bhakti? One may be humble, one may have greed, he may have diksha, he may take sannyas, will not be enough. One has to stay in Braj Rasik Vaishnava Sangha and relish Harikatha always. Chaitanya Bhaktagana Nityakara Sangha Kavito Janive Siddhanta Samudra Taranga. Daily, regularly associate again and again with the Rasik associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Only then will one be able to dive deeply into the waves in the ocean of Rasa Siddhanta. So Mahaprabhu, from there he did a tour of South India. And this is also very significant. Very significant. Dham Tattva, that is the principle of the holy places, the transcendental dhams, is very profound. The divine dhams of Vrindavan, Vaikuntha, Ayodhya, and so many spiritual planets, Vaikuntha, they manifest in this world. But in Kali Yuga, those dhams become dormant. They become dormant. So if a person will go to those dhams, then they will not experience the power of that holy place. And in fact, in Kali Yuga, many of the holy places become overcrowded with sinful people, and people just going there to do business and basically rip off the pilgrims in various ways. So, in this Kali Yuga, the Dhams themselves, they become dormant, and they don't manifest their power. And even a sadhu who has a realization of the transcendental place, he will never take someone on parikrama to a holy place which the Dham itself is dormant. Because by doing the pure Vaishnava, he realizes everything. But if you take someone on parikrama to a holy place, that person will not realize the power of that Dham and it's become dormant. So two things have to be there. The Dham has to be invigorated. And also we should do parikrama under the guidance of a pure Vaishnava. So, and then by their mercy, they teach us the mood in which we can connect with the potency of that Dham. So it is said that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gave 4 missions to the 6 Goswamis. Lupta Tirth Udara, to deliver, uncover the lost holy places. To Vigraha Prakash, to manifest the deities, lost deities. Bhakti Grantha Pranayan, to compose the devotional scriptures. And the Vaishnava Sadachara Stapana, to establish what is proper conduct and behavior for Vaishnavas in various stages of life. So these 4 missions, this is the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he gave that responsibility to the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. But he himself also was fulfilling some of that mission, discovering lost deities, and the Lupta Tirth Udara, delivering the lost holy places. So what that means is, don't think it just means finding the geographical location of some pastime of an avatar of the Lord. Only saying, oh, this is the place where it happened. This is not the meaning of Lupta Tirth Udara. Just like when Nityananda Prabhu, he was doing parikrama of all the holy places and eventually came to Navadvip. And when he met with Nimai, they embraced each other and fainted in ecstasy. Afterwards, Nityananda Prabhu said, "Oh my Lord, I traveled to all the holy places, and everywhere I went, I saw that the asanas, the singhasanas, the altars were empty. I didn't see Krishna anywhere. And then I heard from some learned persons that Sri Krishna has appeared in this Kali Yuga, and right now he's in Navadvip Dham and distributing Krishna Prem. And therefore, I have come here to meet with you and receive my deliverance. Please, give me Krishna Prem." So Nityananda Prabhu, he spoke so humbly. As we discussed yesterday, Nityananda Prabhu is the incarnation of the asking disposition. But the meaning of Nityananda Prabhu's words here, that I went everywhere and the asanas were empty, Krishna was nowhere to be found in the Dhams, means that in Kali Yuga, the Dhams had become the dormant. And no one could experience the power of those Dhams. So when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went on the tour of South India and he visited all these various places like Madurai and Srirangam, Pandharpur, and the Nishingakshetra, and so many places, when he visited each place, he was actually reinvigorating all the Dhams. And so that they were manifesting their power. And therefore, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Gora Amar, Ye Shabastani, Karilo Brahmanarangi, Se Sabastani, Hego Ani, Prani Bhakta Sange. It is my desire to visit all the places, the holy places, wherever Chaitanya Mahaprabhu traveled on his tour. And I want to visit those places in the company of Pranay Bhakta Sanghe, of loving devotees. Because 2 ingredients are here. If Mahaprabhu did not go to a dham and invigorate, wake up the dormant dham, it will give no mercy. And at the same time, if we don't go to that dham, even it's invigorated, but we don't go under the guidance of a loving devotee, they will not impart to us the service spirit, whereby the dham will see our mood and be pleased to reveal its swarup to us. Sri Gaura. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself went to Vrindavan. He discovered Shyamakund and Radhakund. But there were so many other places all over Brajmandal, and especially Mahaprabhu, he empowered Sanatana Goswami. Sanatana Goswami was doing always parikrama everywhere. And by the Shakti of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sanatana Goswami was doing the Lupta Tirtha Udara, not only finding the places, but awakening the personalities of those places to give mercy to any pilgrims who will come in the future, such as ourselves if we'll go there under the guidance of our pure Vaishnava Acharyas. And we can also say that Navadvip Dham also was lost. No one knew where was Mahaprabhu born and where were the various islands. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Mano Bhishta Seva, fulfilling the innermost heart's desire of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by doing Lupta Tirtha Udara, manifesting and invoking the Shakti of all the places, Madhyadvip, Koladvip, Ritudvip, Jaladvip, Bodhadharmadvip, Rudadvip, Simantadvip, Antardvip, all the islands of Navadvip. They became completely shining with an unprecedented power that was never revealed before. And it was done by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Therefore he's called Saptam Goswami, because the mission that 6 Goswamis fulfilled for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's service in Brajmandal, all of those missions were fulfilled by one person in Navadvip Dham. So he's Saptam Goswami, Sachidananda Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So, Sannyasa, the tour of South India, what Mahaprabhu did there, he said that in Navadvip, when Mahaprabhu left, there are still so many persons there who didn't accept him. Mayavadi, Karmanishta, Kruta Ketagan, Ninduka, Prashanti Arpado Adam. 6 types of persons didn't accept Mahaprabhu in Navadvip. Mayavadis, those who are addicted to ritualistic karma, the logicians, offenders, atheists, and the worst of all, students. So, the lowest of materialistic students with the bold-britty, enjoying spirit, so many persons didn't accept him. But when Mahaprabhu traveled in South India, he unleashed his Kripa Shakti, his mercy potency in such a way that he didn't do even in Navadvip. And he converted. Thousands and thousands of people were following him with Sankirtan everywhere. It was only later, many years later, that he went back to Navadvip and he came to Koladvip, to the place where our Devananda Gaudiya Mat is. And then all of those persons who had resisted his mercy during his Navadvip Lila, they came and fell at his feet, and then he delivered those 6 types of offenders and persons who are averse to bhakti. And that is why our Parama Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshavaraj, he made Devananda Gaudiya Mat at Koladvip there, because that place is called the Aparad Bhajan Pat, the place where, though Mahaprabhu distributed mercy in Navadvip, even those who escaped his mercy somehow or other, in that place he also gave Prem to them. And so that place is very important and valuable for us. So then we can go to the next one. Final days in Jagannath Puri. Here, from this final chart, you can see it's indicated that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will disappear from this world in the year 1533. It is, some biographies consider that it was on the Hera Panchami day. That Hera Panchami day was the day when Mahaprabhu heard Swarup Damodar glorifying the various moods of the gopis of Vrindavan with Srivas Thakur. Mahaprabhu was overhearing that very beautiful Rasik Katha. So, on that day, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he could not tolerate separation anymore, and he entered into the deity of Tota Gopinath. But this last period of his life, what was the life of Mahaprabhu like? Snana darshana bhojan deya swabhav kumarina chakagena satita firai Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Pad says that just as a potter, he has a big stone wheel and he takes a lump of clay and he puts the clay on the stone wheel, and then with two hands he makes a great exertion to get the stone wheel spinning. But once the wheel is spinning, then his two hands are free and he can work on his creative masterpiece. And the wheel is turning by itself. So in the same way, Snana Darshana Bhojan Deya Swabhav Hoy. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his body had a nature that just like the wheel of a potter turns by itself, he was waking up, he was taking baths in the ocean, he was going to the temple of Lord Jagannath in the day to have darshan, he was honoring prasadam, and then going in the Gambhira at night and doing rasa swadan, relishing rasa with Swarup Damodar and Roy Ramananda. So his days were going round like this. And his body would wake up, take baths, go to the temple. It was all going on by itself. And inside he was completely free to be absorbed in the pastimes of Sri Krishna. So this is the example that Mahaprabhu is setting for us. Now we have to do that effort to get the wheel spinning. This is our sadhana. We're trying to do our sadhana. But gradually as the consciousness is purified, then everything becomes effortless. And the body is just waking up by itself, taking baths, going to Mangalati, chanting Harinam, and hearing everything is just going in a flow by itself like a miracle. And inside the heart is free, and in one spiritual form, the beautiful Nitya Seva of Radha Krishna is going on. This is the position of the Mahabhagavat Vaishnava. So now we're in the stage of effort, but it will transition into the stage of just the flow of nectar. So Mahaprabhu was living his life in that way. And day and night he was experiencing so many ecstasies. He was relishing the Prem of Srimati Radhika. One day, it was an evening time in the night, and Mahaprabhu was experiencing I am Radhika dancing with Krishna in Rasalila. All the gopis are making a circle around and their ankle bells are ringing and their voices are singing in beautiful rag, and gopis are playing mridanga and in a beautiful tal. Everything is so amazing. But then he woke up and his heart was broken. So then he got ready and he went to the Jagannath temple. And when he went into the temple, and he looked at Lord Jagannath, and he could not see, he was by the Gruda Stamba, he could not see Baladeva and Subhadra. Because if you see them, you'll think he's in Kurukshetra. Because in Vrindavan Leela, Subhadra wasn't even born. So she's a daughter of Devaki later in the Mathura Leela and Dwarka Leela. So he was just seeing Lord Jagannath as Shama Sundar. And seeing him, Mahaprabhu fainted in ecstasy. Later he told Swarup Damodar, Ramananda Rai, Saundaryamrita Sindhu Bangalalana Chittati Samplavakam Kamananda Sanava Ramya Vachanam Kotindu Sikandika Saurabhyamrita Samplavara Jagat Piyusha Ramyadara Sa Gopendra Sutta Sakashi Bala Panchindriyani Me. Oh. When Srimati Radharani sees Krishna, even though her heart is so gambhir, so deep, so steady, so pure and immovable like a mountain, but just as a tidal wave might come and submerge the Himalayan mountains, in the same way when she sees the beauty of Krishna, the beauty of Krishna is flowing like waves and completely submerges the mountain of her chitta. She becomes lost in his beauty. Ramya Nama. Kana Nandi Sanama Ramya Vachanam Kotendu Sikandika. And when Krishna speaks, his words are so beautiful, full of jokes, full of the intimacy and so romantic. It is like nectar for the ears, and the touch of Krishna is more cooling than millions of moons. And his fragrance seems to pervade the whole universe. And the taste of his lips is like nectar. And so when Radhika sees Krishna, he's so beautiful. But you know, it's the nature of the mind. The mind cannot concentrate on many things at once. The mind can only focus on one thing at a time. So when Radhika sees the beauty, his fragrance, his sound, his taste, his touch, then all of her senses, the mind wants to experience and focus on all of the senses at the same time, but it's not possible. Just like if there's one horse and 5 riders jump on the back of the horse and they all try to ride the horse in different directions at the same time, then the poor horse will collapse. So Radharani said, my mind was like this. My 5 senses were like riders trying to pull the horse of my mind in 5 directions at the same time. To relish all the sweetness of Krishna's, the Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, all the 5 sense objects of Sri Krishna's sweetness. And in this way my mind just collapsed and I became unconscious. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was relishing Radhabhav, the mood of Srimati Radhika, but not always. Not always. For example, one day, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was walking along the beach in Jagannath Puri, and in the distance he saw a big sand dune, Chatak Parvat. And seeing that, he began to run. He ran and ran. At the speed of the mind, the other devotees couldn't keep up. And he was calling, Hantaya Mandri Habala Haridasavaya Yad Rama Krishna Tarna Sparasha Pramoda Manam Tanoti Sahagoganayastayuya Pani Yasuya Vasakanda Kanda Mule. Wow. Wake me up tomorrow. He was uttering this verse that Radharani herself had spoken when she saw Govardhan Hill, because he was seeing the Chatak Parvat. Chatak Parvat was the Govardhan Hill. And this ecstasy arose in his heart. Hantaya Mandrihaya Abala Haridasavaya. O Saki, this Govardhan is Haridasavaya, the best servant of Krishna. How this Govardhan is serving Krishna in so many ways. Just like a pujari. Pujari serves the deity. He offers flowers. Esha Pushpanjali. So in the same way, when Krishna is at Govardhan and he's playing his flute, then the trees, they shed their flowers. Esha Pushpanjali. And then the pujari welcomes him. Avayami, Stapayami, Prabhu Sri Kripaya Swagatam Kuru. So in the same way, all the birds in the trees begin to sing. It's as if Govardhan is saying to Krishna, welcome, welcome. Esha Deepa, just like the pujari offers a deep. So the foliage on the trees of Govardhan is very dense, but there are some gaps where the sun shines through. So the rays of the sun are coming through the dense foliage in the forest and making beautiful illumination of spots on the ground. And when the wind blows and the trees move, then these light beams are moving around. So as Krishna is walking through the forest and the wind blows and the trees move, it's like the trees. Govardhan is offering the deeps to Krishna in the arati. And the cows are running over the stones, and when their hard hooves hit the stones and the sparks fly, and the spark lands on the agur wood, and it begins to smoke, and makes agur smoke. Esha Dupa. And Govardhan is offering incense. Etat Padyam. There's a waterfall coming down and Krishna's walked so far, so he sits on a stone next to the waterfall and dips his toes in the cool water. Etat Padyam. And Giraj Govardhan is washing the feet of Krishna. Idam Asanam. Govardhan gives a Ratna Vedi, Shama Vedi, very beautiful sitting places full of jewels where Krishna can sit with Srimati Radhika and her Sakhis. Etat Naivadyam Satulasi Paniyajalam. Tulsi leaves are growing there. And Govardhan is giving very delicious fruits and roots for Krishna to eat. And there are so many caves and kunjas where Sri Krishna can relish his pastimes with Srimati Radhika. So Radharani said, Abala, oh girls, Abala means girls, Bala means strong. So those who are not so strong, they're Abala, they're weak, they're girls. Oh really, we are Abala, we are weak girls. Why? Because we don't have the power, we don't have the strength to serve Krishna like Giriraj. Govardhan is serving Krishna in all ways. The whole body of Giriraj Govardhan has become the playground of Sri Krishna, but we are not so fortunate. We cannot serve Krishna in this way. We want to serve. So if we will do parikrama of Giriraj Govardhan, if you worship someone, if you honor someone, then what happens? Then their qualities come to you. That's why we do Guru Puja, we worship Gurudev every day. Why? Gurudev's qualities come to the disciple who worships him. So Radhika and the Gopis are thinking, if we do parikrama of Giriraj Govardhan, then his qualities will come to us and we will have the strength to serve Krishna in all of these ways. We can offer arti to Sri Krishna by the light of our loving glances. We can fan him with our fluttering eyelashes. We can offer him the Adaramrit, the taste of our lips. Kanda Rakanda Mule. So many caves and kunjas. Oh, every part of the body of Srimati Radhika is like a kunj. It's very profound. You understand anurag? What is anurag? Sadanu bhutam api yaha. Kurvam navanavam priyam. When the object of love is realized newer and newer at every moment, and the love for him is also newer and newer every moment, this is called anurag. Oh Krishna, I have never seen you before. I have never seen such beauty before. And Krishna looks at Radhika. He feels, I have never seen you before. And in the stage of anurag, then the intelligence becomes so fine that it focuses on one quality. And then all the other qualities disappear. Just like a needle, if you take a needle and it's a very fine thin needle and you take a thread that's a bit coarse, you try to thread the needle but it won't go through because the hole is too small. So you keep poking it like this and a little fiber comes through and then you grab that fiber and you pull it. But what happens? Only the fiber comes through and on the other side the cotton is all in a tangled mess. Did you ever do that? Yes. We've all done that. Yes. Home economics class. So, in the same way, in anurag, the intelligence becomes so fine that all of Krishna's qualities cannot come into the mind. There's only focus on one and all the others get left outside. So the lover and beloved, they become lost in that one quality. So in this way, see, Krishna sees the beauty of Radhika's eyes and becomes lost in that. There's nothing in the world, only the eyes of Radhika. And then the next moment he comes out again from that, and then he looks and sees the beauty of her smile and he becomes lost in that. And there's nothing in existence except the smile of Radhika. And then he comes out of that. Then he sees the beauty of the heart of Radhika and he becomes lost in that. So it's just like a person can wander around Govardhan and enter into one kunj and stay there for some time. And then come out again, and then go into another kunj for some time, and then go out again, and then go into another kunj. Kanda Rakanda Mulai. Radharani is saying, Govardhan has so many caves. I want to be like that. When will I meet with Sri Krishna? And he'll become lost in the beauty of my eyes in that kunj. And then he'll come out again. Then he'll become lost in the beauty of my fragrance. And come out again. Then he'll see my lotus feet. And become lost in the beauty of my lotus feet and then come out again. What bhav is expressed by Radhika in this verse is quite amazing. It's the nature of anurag. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari They're not only enjoying pastimes in a kunj, but they themselves are like so many kunjas. They're entering into and relishing each other's beauty. So Mahaprabhu said this verse and became mad and was running as fast as this wind. At the speed of light, no one could keep up with him. And as he approached Chaitanya, he was stunned, and his hairs erupted into horripilation, and he was trembling. He became as white as a conch shell, and he fell to the ground. Gradually, Swarup Damodar Goswami, Ramananda Rai, Govinda, and others, they arrived there. Govinda took his cloth and he was fanning Mahaprabhu, and they began to chant the holy name. And then Mahaprabhu stood up and looked into the sky as if he was seeing something, and said, Hari, Hari! And he was still not fully out of his trance. He was in Arna Bahya Dasha, half internal, half external. And Mahaprabhu said to Swarup Damodar, where am I? I was at Govardhan. I was at Govardhan Hill. And I saw Radha and Krishna. And that Radha and Krishna, they entered into a beautiful cave of Giriraj Govardhan. And I was following them. And then one Sakhi said to me, go and pick some flowers and make a garland. And so then I went to pick the flowers. And now you all called me and I'm here. What does it mean? It means that on that day Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was relishing Manjari Bhav. There's some status among the group of Radhika. Radhika is the Naika, the heroine. And then the next level down are the Sakhis. And under the guidance of the Sakhis, the Manjaris, the maidservants of Radhika. So at that moment, Mahaprabhu was relishing. He was not in Radhabhav. We gave one example how he was in Radhabhav. But at this moment, he was relishing what it is like to serve Radha and Krishna in the mood of a Manjari. Otherwise, how could he distribute it to others? Samarpita unnata ujjala samsora. So in these last final days in Jagannath Puri, you can see in Chaitanya Charitamrita how Mahaprabhu also relished the mood of Radhika's maidservants. They are so very fortunate. Tambula panapada madana payodana visara didi brindaranya maheswarin pratya testo shantim priya prana prastasi Sakhi Kulari Klas and Kochita Bhumika Kelly Bhumishum Rup Pamanjari Mahasta Dasika Samsraye. Raghunath Das Goswami said, when will I take shelter of Rupa Manjari? These maidservants of Radhika, they're so lucky. Because when Radha and Krishna, they are alone, playing together in a kunj. When they become tired, they refresh Radha and Krishna by offering them tambul, by massaging their lotus feet, by bringing them fresh and fragrant cooling water. They take Radhika on a journey in the night through the forest to meet with Krishna. They render so many services, and even at that time when Lalita and Vishaka, they cannot be present because Radha and Krishna would be inhibited by shyness. And those Sakhis, senior Sakhis, they go and sit together and talk beneath the Kadamba tree on the bank of Jamuna. Even at that time, Rupa Manjari and the maidservants of Radhika, they can remain at the door to the kunj, by the windows of the kunj, and watching the pastimes of Radha and Krishna, and seeing, looking for the chance, the opportunity to enter and render the exact service that Radha and Krishna need at the exact moment when it's needed. So they are so fortunate. There is no one among all the gopis, there is no one anywhere in any material or spiritual world as fortunate as the dasis of Srimati Radhika. So Mahaprabhu, in his final pastimes, he was manifesting this, and it was revealed. He empowered Rupa Goswami to reveal in detail this mood, Bhavulas, the Bhavulasarati, the ecstatic mood of the Manjaris. This is the special gift of Mahaprabhu that was never given before in this day of Guru Brahma. So we'll discuss that later in the last class of the festival. So we have to go there step by step, one by one. Today, we will only want to discuss the astrological chart of Mahaprabhu, how it proves that not only is he Vishnu Tattva, but he's Krishna himself, and how his glorious, beautiful pastimes from his childhood in Navadvip, his Sankirtan Lila, his Sannyas, his tour of South India, and his profound pastimes of bhajan in Jagannath Puri, they are all indicated by his chant. Okay, give the next one. And then Mahaprabhu entering into Sisi Radha Todi Gopinath Juki Sacinandan Gohari Ki Jai Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki Jai Jai Sri Radhe